Okay, so this is going to be about curse words. I don't mean curse words like I curse your family line for a million years or something, right? Like not that kind of curse, but the curse words like fuck, shit, whatever, like that kind of curse words. So, first of all, it's perfectly fine not to like cursing. I get why some people take issue with it. I personally don't have a problem with it. I guess it can be overdone, but that to me is a matter of personal taste, preference, and context. On my show, I don't mind cursing. My show is for adults. Consider this your warning label and watch the show at your own free will or not. If you find free thinking and honest speech offensive, then you are free to watch something else. To me, being crude is how you treat the people around you, not how you choose to express yourself. Now, let's talk about judging cursing within a Christian context, shall we? Let's look at some other things that people say are not Christian to put this all into perspective. So, this might be all Christians, but some Christians, they're all different varieties of Christians. So, some of them don't like smoking. Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you smoke weed? Whether or not you are offended by these things, there are other Christians out there that are. They find offense to people who smoke weed and cigarettes, etc. And if you do those things, then in their eyes, you are not a Christian. You're not doing Christian things, yada, yada, yada. What about drinking? Surely it should come as no surprise that there are Christians out there who frown upon this as well. So, do you drink a beer here or there? A glass of wine? Well, guess what? It's judgment time. What about lying? Okay. Um, is there anybody out there who's willing to say that they never lie and be taken seriously? So lying is okay, but cursing isn't? Hello, McFly. What about makeup? Come on now, ladies. You do realize that there are Christians who say that makeup was brought to us by fallen angels, as stated in the book of Enoch. Are we all offended by makeup now? Is that what's going on? Anyway, you get the point. So, this is what happens when you catch a ride on the Legalism Express. People learn to hide what they perceive to be as wrong and point their fingers at others to get the focus off of themselves. Then everything becomes about image, superficial, fake, and hypocritical, and definitely not fun. This is a point where everyone is on guard and scared to smile and be themselves, so they have to play a role. I think we all try to live up to God's standards, but we all, I mean all, even the ones that are super loud and look at me, they all of us fail. It's just that some of us are more honest about it. We all make mistakes and we are only saved by grace. We can't do it on our own. Just can't. Try it, you can't do it. You're going to fail over and over again. And that's why we need Jesus. When you become a Christian, it's not like your brain is wiped clean like an old computer you want to sell on to someone on eBay. We still laugh at the same stuff. It's just that some people feel like they need to hide who they truly are. Some people play a role to fit in or to try to like rule something over somebody to control them. Some people are into control. I got to control you. I'm not saying cursing or any of these other things are good or bad or anything else. I just don't think it's a salvation issue. And the more we focus on looking for perceived faults in others to judge them, the less time there is for loving thy neighbor. This is the part where someone will say something like, but judging people is love. I mean, really? Seriously? So you missed that whole part about throwing stones and all that thing? You skipped over that part? Well, in my personal experience, most of the people who ride the legalism train handle criticism poorly. So while they're freely handing out this criticism candy, they can dish it out, but they certainly can't take it. Anyway, this reminds me of the Pharisees. The Pharisees were all about image over truth. They wanted control and power. So they always wore expensive garments, expensive clothing without blemish to suggest that they were holier than everyone else. Whereas Jesus was a simple carpenter who preached to lepers and whores. He's out there with the common folk, the poor, wherever someone was an outcast of society and didn't fit in, that's where he was. So I'm sure there was a lot of quote unquote cursing going on there. So Jesus spoke about how they were all just about appearance, what they look like on the outside. But when you look on the inside, that's when you see how rotten they are. So it personally makes me cringe when I see constant talk about judgment and condemnation of others instead of rejoicing over the gratitude we should all feel for God's benevolent mercy towards us in giving us all the gifts of forgiveness and salvation. And believe me, we've done nothing to earn it. It's a gift. I think the darker side of human nature wants to feel superior in some way in order to look down on somebody else. That's one of the reasons we are here to wash each other's feet to try to fight that pride. None of us should be judging anyone, but we are all guilty of it nonetheless. It's in our nature. It's not up to us to assume everyone else is doing something wrong and that we need to point out to them. There is plenty of room for everyone to judge everyone else till the end of time. None of us are perfect. I think that people who like judging others often do so masquerading their true intent as quote unquote doing God's will. But usually this is a ruse to cover up their own selfish motives. For example, none of us are to be called Father except for God the Father. None of us are above anybody else, no matter how hard we try and point out other people's faults. So we should be brothers and sisters as we are all equal. So I'm not saying we should put our heads in the sand and talk about behaviors that are wrong or sinful. I just don't think it's a good sign when this becomes the main focus. If you're going to cover that sort of thing, it should come from a place of humility instead of pride. It may seem like I'm a bit off topic, but I wanted to cover the motives behind this issue of judging foul language. So look, we are all adults here. We should not have to pretend we are all innocent again. Okay, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So the word fornicate is okay, but fuck isn't. Defecate is just dandy, but shit is bad. How does this even make sense? And I brought this up, the whole idea of context earlier. Context, remember that at the beginning of this whole thing. So let's put this all into context, shall we? YouTube, and soon to be the rest of the internet, is being censored, what we can and cannot say. For example, we can use the word jab to self-censor ourselves. Many channels have been taken down for speaking truth. Here's the context, you ready for it? And we're debating over censoring colorful metaphors. I mean, really? I think people don't realize how deeply they have been programmed, but regardless, there is no shortage of stupid shit people say on YouTube. I see it everywhere, all kinds of dumbass stuff. But I don't run around and tell them what they can or cannot say. You're perfectly free to be a dumbass here, to your heart's content. More power to you. Believe me, there's plenty of things I can point out, but I don't. But part of the reason is I know, ironically enough, they couldn't handle the criticism. So while they're criticizing everybody else, they can't handle their own criticism. Yeah. So in closing, I just want to say fuck, fuckity fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, fuckity fuck, fuckity fuck.